Okay, very good morning, guys. Okay, my name is Gerald, right? And I welcome all you guys to this Tango with Power Apps and Power Automate webinar. I think we shall start right now. So there are quite a lot of people who are in. I think 100 plus people, all right, out of yeah, quite a lot of you guys. I thank you very much, okay, for spending time, okay, to attend this webinar. This is going to be a 2-hour webinar, and 2 hours. I'm not so sure how many demos I can show, bring you guys on a tour of Power Apps and Power Automate. I also need to welcome people from a few countries. I think there are people from Europe. I think you guys are kind of like very early there. Thank you very much if you're joining. And also, I welcome people from even Japan, Korea, Taiwan, Thailand, Indonesia. I'm sorry, I cannot remember all the countries because we know that we've got a lot of countries attendees. Sorry if I did not mention your country. But I solely thank you. All right, I wholeheartedly thank you very much for attending. Now, I've got no time to waste here. So those of you who are in, I believe you guys are anticipating something. Some of you guys know already what is Power Platform, and some of you guys maybe have attended my training before. Some of you guys have attended a few of my webinars before this. And this is not the first time I did Power Platform. In fact, I did kind of like a couple of sessions, a brief one about the overall Power Platform, the members of Power Platform, as well as the small details about how you go about it. But I feel that Power Platform is not gaining the momentum. I'm not so sure about in your country, but around this region, right? I'm training actually quite a few regions. Actually, I'm an international speaker, so I know that there are quite a number of countries whereby Power Platform is picking up speed. All right, but not this part of the world. And there are a couple of speakers and experts around the community, even the community from Power Platform in Malaysia. It's kind of like very slow. So I think it's my duty also to promote more on Power Apps and Power Automate. Okay. In fact, my company GemRain, right, consulting, we are specializing in providing tailor-made customizations on courses, especially diving into Power Platform. Now, I'm sure most of you guys also attended my Power BI training. So in Power BI, you know that, well, it's all about reporting, and Power BI is one sole member that picked up a lot of speed. It has been around for quite, 6 years, 7 years coming up. So since 2015, 2016, Power BI has been around. And after that, we've got Microsoft Flow, and Power Apps was introduced a few more years later. So once Microsoft came out with the family called Power Platform, which they wrap around Power Apps, Microsoft Flow, and also Power BI. So slowly from there, right, Microsoft actually has been actively promoting this suite of products. And they even changed the name of Microsoft Flow to Power Automate because the lack of the word power. So there's Power Apps right now, then there's Power BI, but then suddenly Microsoft Flow. So that's the reason why they just changed it to Power Automate. If I were to be a Microsoft, I'll just call it Power Flow. All right. Why the word Power Automate, which is quite a mouthful. But anyway, let's I'm not the one who is deciding things here. So Power Automate, right? Okay, from the word, you know that it is meant to automate business processes, automate all your processes. So, and Power Apps, right? It's allowing you to build apps. So it's simple as that. From the name itself, okay, you can roughly tell what is it. Okay, so I'm about to go into just a couple of slides because I want to do this really interactive demo because most of my webinar, I want to make it demo. I'm not talking slides because I feel slides waste my time. Those of you who have attended my training before, you should know also that I'm not a PowerPoint slide guy. Even with slides, I just talk a few slides, overview, pushing you guys to the keywords, and then making sure that you guys understand that immediately it's going to be the practical. So anyway, those of you who don't know me, my name is Gerald. Again, So I'm the CEO and the master trainer for GemRain. I've been training since 1996, so that makes me training for 25 years already. All right, so I'm getting actually more and more excited with the training scene. Okay, I've monitoring the training scene for a long time. I've even been a speaker in conferences since year 2006 for Microsoft Tech Ed, and I've even been a speaker in the World SharePoint Conference in Las Vegas in 2014. I've trained in Europe. Okay, I've trained in Czech Republic, Sweden, Denmark, even in France as well. So, but of course, this was pre-COVID-19. Okay, so now the market is slowly opening up, and I'm pretty excited again that things are getting back to normal, hopefully. And yeah, I guess you guys know that training is also part and parcel of the workload, okay, that everyone needs to be. Okay, so now let me just show you a bit on the presentation. So Microsoft Power Platform, I think some of you guys have seen this slide before. All right, now this is whereby Microsoft produced the low code platform. It says low code, meaning to say that it is very little coding and is really meant for business users, right? And it spans across the entire Microsoft 365 suite, namely Office 365, Dynamics 365, and even cover the backbone infrastructure on Azure and standalone applications. So I have used this PowerPoint slide before when I did a Power Platform overview, like a sneak peek webinar before. But like I said, today, Tango with Power Apps and Power Automate, I'm only covering this particular two only. I'm not talking about Power BI and Power Virtual Agents. There are 4 members. Power Virtual Agents, it's pretty, I would say, still in a blur. People don't really know, hey, what is PVA or Power VA, Power Virtual Agent. So slowly, I'm going to try to come up with more webinars because I have decided, okay, to come up with webinars from GemRain Consulting almost at least once every month, right? Beginning with this month. So next month upcoming, we've got another webinar, December, January, I've got a lot of contents lining up. And of course, I want to speak about something more intricate, when I come up with webinars in the future. But today, let's go into Power Apps and Power Automate. From here, you can see it's talking about application development. Now, some of you guys from the business world, you see that, wow, application development, I'm not programmer, I'm not developer. How am I going to develop, an app? Well, Power Apps allows you to do that, just that, without having to write code. Maybe you write formulas only using Power FX, which is the name given to the formula, the expression, concept, way of writing, It's just like how you use Excel, you write formulas, single line, possibly maybe 2 lines, something like that, right? And Power Automate is to perform automation of processes. Now, right at the bottom here, you can see they've got portals, data connectors, AI Builder and Dataverse. Now, I'm not going to go through so much here because I only got 2 hours here. This webinar is meant to bring you guys, introduce you guys to at least know how to kickstart things around. Okay, so the AI Builder portion, I'm still struggling to come up with a webinar focused only on AI Builder. And I've got another one, okay, which is on Power Virtual Agent. But the licensing portion is the one that is the most toughest hurdle. All right, that's one of the major hurdle and challenge for people to address. People will be asking, hey, what's the licensing issue? Power Virtual Agent, very expensive, 1,363 USD per month, only allowing a couple of thousand sessions. So how am I going to build a chatbot? Chatbots are nice. Everybody wants to go into chatbot, but how to build that? It seems to be very easy using PVA, but the licensing is a big deal. So hopefully I'll have a webinar upcoming to do that. And also AI Builder. People are talking about AI. And by next year, okay, I'm trying to launch also a couple of webinars focusing on data science, AI. Being an AI trainer myself, I train Azure AI as well as machine learning. So these are the lineup that I am announcing now, right? So don't worry, I'll be launching all these a few products by next year, all right? And also I will be talking about Dataverse. Now let's talk about Power Apps first. These are just a few slides that I want to promote before I dive right into my demo. So build and consume solutions for web as well as mobile with your Power Apps. Now, Power Apps, right, it's actually a platform that allows and empowers business users to build highly customized, task-oriented, as well as role-based type of apps. And the apps, okay, are majorly easy for you to use it to capture your data, your business data, and then these data can be sent directly and store them in your database, store them in SharePoint, store them in Microsoft Dataverse. And you might be wondering what is Dataverse, right? And it's all up to you how you combine text, images, any multimedia content into all your different screens in your application. All right. So these apps, right, one of the beautiful thing is that it is fully accessible from your mobile, whether it's from a tablet or even your smartphone. All we need to do is to download and install Power Apps mobile, right? It's available from your Apple App Store or even Google Play Store for free. Just download it, install it into your tablet or your devices, and you just sign in with your Office 365 account with that Power Apps, and any apps that you build and you publish can be launched directly from there. And the way on how we share in apps, right, is that we just share the app as if you are sharing a file, just like OneDrive, you know. So the app is not like a full application where you need to download and install, because you see, if I'm the author, I'm the original creator of Power Apps. Now I will build my Power Apps app, right, and then I save it, and then I publish it. Once I publish, right, okay, it goes into my own account first. Now, once it's in my account, after that, I can click the button share. When I click the button share, right, then I'll be asked to share to whom? The entire organization or to a specific number of people, and I can assign permission. And then these people, right, okay, will just need to sign into their Power Apps mobile, you know, and they immediately can see their app appearing there magically without having to need to download and install, not like you download and install your apps from Google Play Store or your Apple App Store, you know, and which makes this app only a business and internal app within your organization, right? So don't think that this app, I can now finally build an app, I can sell it on the public store or something like that. Not really, okay, because it's an internal organizational level business app, right? It's meant to really capture data, and the data can then be used for other purposes. Now that also brings me to Power Automate. So let me bring in Power Automate into the picture. So Power Automate, right, is, again, if you see my screen here, right, it is actually where you build a workflow. Now it used to be called a workflow, but today Microsoft drops the word work. They just use the word flow. We still use the word flow, which is the object of what we build, because there are many types of flows. Today, you've got desktop flows, which are also known as RPAs last time, robotic process automation, right? You've got the normal cloud flow, right? We've got business process flow, we've got data flow, we've got many types of flows. So all these flows, right, if you look at the diagram way, there's a visual designer that allows you to define the processes, what you want to run each time it is triggered. So a business process or a workflow like this meant to be automated are always triggered. It must be fired from somewhere. You can manually click a button, I fire now, and then it will automatically run. Or you can do something on somewhere that will trigger that flow to run automatically. So automation is all about triggering with an event. And this event, right, will fire the actions, you know, things such as, for example, the most famous is to get approval, right? People famously, popularly use Power Automate to simply create an approval workflow, right? And immediately maybe get notifications about something and all that. And Power Automate has replaced SharePoint workflows as well. Those are the legacy workflows. And you can actually fully automate even on-premise or even cloud-based applications. So these are the way, okay, when I say I create this particular webinar called Tango with Power Apps and Power Automate, because these two fellas, right, are practically working together. From within your own app that you built in Power Automate, you can practically have a button maybe within your app. Whatever you do within your app after you capture the data, you click submit button in your Power Apps, then in the background, it will trigger a flow in Power Automate, right? So whether I want to call it duet or whether it's a tango, so whatever, now these two components are dancing together, so I just call it Tango. All right, so this is actually where I'm going to show you how I create a simple Power Apps app itself, right? And then I'm just going to show you and point to you the way on how you can call up a flow or design a flow right immediately. But most of the time, we at GemRain always receive requests quite a lot, okay, on Power Apps and Power Automate about the intricate study. They want to learn Power Automate alone, no need to learn Power Apps, or Power Apps alone, don't know Power Automate, or they want to learn both, okay, but on a very slower pace because a lot of things are quite infant, okay, quite new to them. So they don't want to have a training, okay, that covers everything, and then they are all confused, you know, they're torn left and right, you know. So this is also where I'm going to show you individually. Power Apps, focus first, and then Power Automate. Okay, now this also makes me bring myself to Microsoft Dataverse. Now I'm not covering Dataverse so much here. Okay, so because Dataverse was formerly known as CDS, Common Data Service. Now, in fact, if you dive right into Power Platform, Dataverse, you cannot escape. Quite a lot of content by Microsoft, even when I speak in conferences, right? Okay, I have to bring in Dataverse into the scenario, into the environment. Because when we create an environment in your Power Platform, now you have a way to create the database inside Dataverse. So Dataverse, right? The name is Dataverse because it's well, database, okay, or data universe. That's why they just joined the word and call it Dataverse. Now, before Microsoft called it Dataverse, right? They intentionally, originally, okay, they intended to call it Dataflex, right? But apparently, Dataflex has been used by some other people, so it has been registered. So they cannot use the word Dataflex, so now they call it Dataverse. Okay, so this was commonly, it was formerly known as Common Data Service. So Common Data Service, right, it's practically the centralized service, okay, that hosts your data for all your apps, right? That's where you keep your app. And they offer you this seamless database, right, where all your apps data, you store it into your Dataverse. But of course, the size of your Microsoft Dataverse data storage is not really big. It's kind of small, right? If I were to recall, right, it's only like a couple of 100 megabytes, even for the highest edition. So that makes also your Power Apps able to store data, okay, connecting to your traditional SQL Server, maybe SQL Server on the cloud, or any other storages. Okay, so there are a lot of connectors that allows you to connect to all these different sources. Okay, so this is actually how I just need to mention about Dataverse being used. Even in my training, right, okay, I will need to mention about Dataverse. All right, so now this is going to be my last slide here, which I'm not going to talk so much anymore. I'm going to dive right into the particular demo straight away. Let me bring in some of my windows over. Hang on. All right. Just give me a second. Okay, let me just dismiss this. Let me open up my browser. Okay, so I'm going to go and log into my office.com. This brings me to my Office 365 itself. All right, so I've already signed into my Office 365 level. All right, so this is actually where I am able to kind of like, you know, go and focus you guys again on how to kickstart Power Apps. So once you're in your Office 365 here, right, you can practically click the app launcher at the side, and you can see in my case, I've got my Power Automate, my Power BI is here, and my Power Apps is here, right? So I'm just going to launch Power Apps straight away. That will bring me to make.powerapps.com. Okay. Now, what I can actually try to demonstrate here, okay, would be something very simple. And then you can see also that you can build business apps fast and stuff like that. Right now, I also need to switch my environment because my environment currently is pointing to my default company level GemRain consulting environment, okay, where I need to click here. I've prepared one environment called webinar, right? So it's a separate environment with different way of focusing your apps there, right? So you can quickly create an app, right? You see, start from data, connected to SharePoint, Excel Online, SQL Server, Dataverse is here. This is actually the new logo for Dataverse. And you can click here, other data sources. If you click on other data sources, right, you can see they will offer you quite a number of connectors where you can click on new connection. These are all the sources. Okay, some sources with the diamond here, it means they are premium sources. You need licenses, not the default Power Apps that comes with your Office 365. You may need to pay extra, like plan 1 or plan 2 per user plan or per app plan. But anyway, let me just get back to the other side here first. Now, what I intend to show you, right, okay, is let me get into my SharePoint. Okay, the fastest way for me to show you, right, is that I've got some data in my SharePoint. All right, so I will just open up my SharePoint first. So my SharePoint, I will bring myself to my training website. Okay, just a simple team site here. It's blank, nothing much here. Now I've created this thing called visitor parking log here. There's this particular, this is just for my demo here. I've got this list, okay, of a visitor parking log. So this is to simulate that I've got in my SharePoint a place for me to log all the visitor vehicles. This is their vehicle registration number, what is their make, their model, the date, you know, contact telephone number, all that. So it's actually where the visitor parking, I just make a log here. And I want to easily come up with an app, right, that allows me to log all these data. Okay, so the fastest way for me to do it, if it's from SharePoint, right, it's going to be where I can see the word integrate here. From the integrate, you can see all three buddies from Power Platform is here: Power Apps, Power Automate, and Power BI. You see, today there's a built-in Power BI where I can immediately visualize the list, immediately connect to Power BI. Okay, Power Automate, I can create a flow immediately, or Power Apps, which I can now see here, I can create an app. So when I click on create an app, so they're going to ask me to give it a name for my app. Okay, so maybe in this case, I'll just call it, let's say, visitor parking log, same name as that. Okay, and hang on, they're trying to check the name. Okay, so just click on create, and they will open up a new tab here. Let me just sign in again with my account. Okay, so they're just getting things ready, and you will see that every time when you start your app development using a source immediately, right, it's all there for you. You can immediately run it. You know, you don't even need to do anything unless you want to customize it. So they will create the main screen for you, the browsing screen, okay, the edit screen, the detail screen is all in there. Okay, so let me just kind of like wait here. There you go. Look at that. This is my portrait level screen here, where you can see that these are all my data. You know, you can see that. So immediately, if I click the play button here to play my app right now on my browser, so you can see all the records are here. And every single one record that you're browsing here, right? What I can do, let's say, for example, the first one, I can click here and it bring me to the screen to look at the details of this guy. So it's Paul Walker. Oh, I thought he's dead. Okay, but anyway, this guy is here, right? This is actually the log. And I can even click on the pencil button to go into edit screen. I can edit, which I can click here to save or even cancel. If I click cancel, I can even delete, clicking the trash can here, or I can go back. So the basic functionality is here. And if you want to create a new record, right, I can just click on this plus sign and I can fill up the information. And when I click on here, is to submit the item and it gets saved in SharePoint. All right. So what I can demonstrate very quickly is I want to edit this first record here. Okay. So this is AJ57THK. So if I go back to my site here, right, so it is not, I need to sort this. I think they are sorted by that particular vehicle registration number. So when I click here, I sort A to Z. I can see this is the first record that is showing. See, the make is Seat, right, Leon, and that's it. So, and this is my app here. So I may want to sort of like click this, right, and it's Paul Walker. Let me just edit, right, and maybe I want to change the make to, let's say, maybe it's an Audi, you know, and it's an A6, and contact name, it's not Paul Walker. Maybe it's Vin Diesel. All right, whatever. So then I'm just going to click submit. Okay, and you see it's all updated here, right? In my SharePoint, immediately you can see, all right, maybe I need to just sort of like refresh here, and you can see it gets updated immediately. Audi, no, I need to sort again, A to Z. You can see Audi A6, and then it's Vin Diesel here. All right, so you can see that data that is in your SharePoint, right, you can actually have an integration menu where you can immediately create that particular app. You can build right straight out from your SharePoint. Okay, now of course you can still build an app, okay, that is pretty much very blank. That means you start designing on your own. Now let me try to open up one app for you, because I don't have enough time to build an app from scratch, because it will take some time usually. Like I said, the shortest possible demo that I can do, right, okay, is one whole day, right? Because I do have content, okay, which I grabbed from one of the conference in US last time, which is called App in a Day, right? So which I can build one app, okay, in directly one day, but not within an hour or so. All right, so here, let me just show you. I just close this first. This was an app that I simply just built very quickly last night actually. So I'm just gonna go back to my. I'm just gonna close this one. I'm not gonna save it. Maybe, for example, oh yeah, maybe I need to save it first. Hang on. Let me try to sort of like, it's already, I'm safe actually, it's there. So let me just close this guy. I'm going to leave. And you know what? Back to here, I'm going to launch my Power Apps once more. And let me just see whether my visitor parking log is there. So in my apps here, wait, let me switch my environment to webinar first. Make sure that I'm in the correct environment. And in my apps here, I can see, ooh, it's not saved here. Oh, never mind. At least I've got one app here. Okay, let's look at this. This is called Our Academy. This app was what I built last night. So you can see this app, I built it from blank canvas. Okay, so I've got a logo called Our Academy on Demand, right? So I've got this button here, which I can click, which can show, right? And I can click here to close. I click here to show. So these are all things which I write only simple formulas, okay, to show. So it's like an app to show me. These are all the 6 app trainings that I have maybe. So for example, if I click on Word, they bring me to another page that shows my product description. I did not have any videos playing for Microsoft Word training, let's say, right? So I can click back here, and let's say, for example, Teams. I click Teams. Now I've got one video playing here. This is from YouTube about taking your first steps with Microsoft Teams. So you can see I can even embed videos into my Power Apps here. Okay, so immediately I can click on here, play, and I can play the video. All right, so
hello and welcome to the
CK
webinar series.
Let me just mute it. Right, so the video is playing here directly from YouTube, right? So you just point a URL to YouTube, grab the share and all that, and you can embed it here. So that's just a simple app. And now let me show you how did I build this. Let me click here and edit the app. All right, so I can simply kind of like show you how this is done. So in fact, I've got more demos on Power Automate, because I think I've got kind of a lot of requests about Power Automate. Okay, so most of the things that I can show you more towards Power Automate. I know it's a bit slightly biased, but what I can show you is from the Power Apps here, how I design an app and how can it trigger a flow that you can build immediately in your Power Automate. So you can see that this is actually my first screen. So in my home screen here, this is my home screen. And you can see I've got many other screens. You see, I've got one screen for Learn Word. One screen I call it Learn PowerPoint. These are all renamed, you know, Learn Excel. So I just duplicated a screen. I created a screen called Product Template Screen. This is the Product Template Screen, and then I just right click here, duplicate screen, duplicate, 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 until I get all these 6 screens. So this screen actually I can throw away, delete. So now I'm left with all these 6 screens: Learn PowerPoint, Learn Excel, Learn SharePoint. So in real world, right, I could have just changed this video. You see, this is actually a video. I can set the media here, right, to point and add a media file, or point to a URL to a different video for OneDrive training or whatever, right? But you can see the design, okay, it's all the same. It's just that in my Learn Teams, you can see this media. I've got this media here. See, pointing to the YouTube link here in the formula bar. You see, so I set the property of the media to this particular property, all right? And then, of course, these are all text box, title, Microsoft Teams. This one, I'm supposed to write a product description here. I write here, you see, it's all shown here. And this is an image, company logo, maybe. You see, I point to a logo. Speaking of logo, I've got all the icons you saw just now on my home screen here. You see this icon, right? And then I still cannot see my screen. You know why? Because this button, this is an icon. Can you see that on select, right? So this is where I can go to the action. In the action, right, when I user click this button, you see on select, that means when people click this button, what I want to do. I actually set this formula, right? If I zoom in, this formula right here, you see, is I set a variable, the variable called menu visible. and I put it to true. When I click, it's true. All right, that's it. It's a variable. And then let me just turn on first. Hang on, let me bring it up. See, when I click, it's true. I keep on clicking also is true because by default I set it to true. Right now, then inside this panel, this is actually the whole group. You see, when I select this, right, this is actually the whole group. I call it main menu. This is where I created, right? You see all these icons, this word, this icon, word, all that I assemble, right? And I group them up into a main menu, and including this icon here. Now this icon, you see, I also got on select, and now I say set menu visible to false. So that is why now when I click false, click this one is true, click this one is false. But how do I make this disappear true or false? Very simple. The main menu, the reason why I group them up, the whole thing, I group it up, right? And here I will set, okay, my visible. Okay, I think I've got the visible here. Let me click on visible. You see, the visible property, right, supposed to be either true or false, but I don't mention true, I don't mention false, but I set the visible to the name of the variable, menu visible. Remember, the menu visible is what I set, either true or false. So if I click this one, I set to true. So then menu visible is true. That's why this fella is visible. If I click here, menu visible is false, then this fella is false. So it cannot see. So that's how I can bring it into click here, it's true. Click here is false. Click here is true. Click here is false. All right. So a lot of you guys might be asking, those of you, maybe who don't know, hey, I thought that when you click here, right, you're supposed to set and select and design. But how come you can still fire from here? I hold on to alternate key actually. All right, if you don't realize this, okay, that you can hold on to alternate key, and now you're not, when you click, you can interact. Now you're interacting. See, I click, they bring me here. I click, I click. You release, okay, if I release the alternate key, now I freehand click is to select already. Select, design, you see, select. So it's just that I do not want it, because sometimes it's very hassle, I have to click the play button here. Click play button, then only I play here. And then I have to close it and come back to design. So you see, this is what it tells me. Did you know you can also test your app right on this canvas by holding down? Okay, so really terrible sorry, because my network is nowadays I've got a problem with my network. Anyway, you guys can still continue to see this screen, right? Okay, so sorry about that. That was a brief outage. Now, what I intend to talk about here, okay, it's exactly right this particular app, which you can actually set a particular button here, right, and then you can close it and all that. I'm sure you guys know about that. Now, there is actually a question: can we build some standard rules from the app input and generate result in the SharePoint list? Now, I'm not so sure about what you mean by build some standard rules. All right, the standard rules, right? Okay, now you can actually have a way to do a rule last time. Now, remember that I'm sure maybe if you ask this, right, probably you have been through Power Apps last time. Okay, now last time, right, okay, for every object here that you click, they used to have properties here, and then here advanced is actually the property. They used to have rules in the center. Right, that's where you can actually create some rules. Now, today the rules and all that, right, okay, they will want you to integrate that directly to your Power Automate. So you can see the Power Automate button is here, right? So most of the time, right, okay, you may want to integrate any other things to do, okay, in your Power Automate, rather than writing just a simple rule, or probably you can write a formula or a function, right, that you can invoke. Now, I have also came before to a demo, but that demo is very long. Now, you need to have expertise in also writing Azure functions. You can create a webhook, whereby the webhook, right, is where how you go and create a subscription from your particular Power Apps. When you can click, right, they will send a webhook to that, make an HTTP request to fire up, okay, the Azure function, which performs something, and then that function returns a result to maybe your app here, in which you can then submit and send it directly and save it into a SharePoint list. All right. So if you are talking about the rules, right, okay, that you want to generate the result or whatever, and then directly update SharePoint list, right, the only way to do that, okay, it's Power Automate, definitely. Okay, so my brief demo here, that what I'm about to show you, right, okay, it's very simple. I'll just show you how do you actually integrate with Power Automate directly from Power Apps here. So let's say, for example, all right, let's say, for example, I will add a button. So let's say I will go into one of the screen here. Let's say the screen, I've got some blank area here, right? I'm just going to my insert here, and I'm going to click on a button. Okay, I'm going to add a button. So you can see I just added a button here, all right? So I'm not going to do anything specific here, okay, but I can now click the button here, and you can see the button selected, right? Okay, now in the button, I can go to click action here. In the action, I can say on select of the button, I can perform anything in my formula bar here. Or you can see everywhere you got Power Automate today. When I click Power Automate, right, you can see they will show you this panel where you are allowed to create a new a new flow. You see? So when I click create new flow, can you see they open up a new tab and bring us directly to Power Automate, right? And in this Power Automate here, I can select templates, what you want to do. One of the beautiful part about Power Automate is that you can actually select any one of this particular flow, all right, or a template, select from there. So you can see Power Apps button. So when I click on Power Apps button, I choose this simple blank template. So do you know that this is actually fired from Power Apps, okay? So the trigger point is from a button from Power Apps. Then I can click add new step here. And then in a new step, what you want to connect to. It's about how you connect to, maybe if I type here the word Azure, let's say, right? I can see Azure Blob Storage, Azure VM, Azure DevOps. I got a lot of quite a number of things about Azure. Now, let me just try to see whether the word function, okay? So I remember that Azure function is there. There you go. Wait, hang on. Number functions, Azure App Service. I think I need to set it to Azure App Service. I remember Azure Function app is there. But if I cannot find it here, okay, most of the time, most likely it will be under Azure App Service. So when you click on Azure App Service, because Azure Function, okay, is also considered as an Azure App Service, right? So you can connect to an Azure App Service here. But the Azure App Service here is only, no, not really. It's only restarting the web app, you know, it's something to do with that web app. I do remember that the Azure Function app, okay, is there where you can invoke, create a webhook, you know, and fire up something. But you can see that there are many connectors here. The connectors that allow you, right, okay, to perform some of the action, get connected to a web service, fire up the service, and all that. Okay. And can we create a login screen for user with Active Directory to log in? This is another question. Creating a login screen for user with Active Directory to log in. The users with proper SharePoint list permission are allowed to log in only. Can Power BI app to do that? Well, you are trying to make things slightly your way. If you ask about, yeah, you can actually create any screens because Power Apps is all about how you design your screen with the login box and all that. But the thing is that, right, login for Active Directory, right? You don't need to log in. Do you know that Power Apps, right? Okay, you don't really need to prompt people to log in because the moment you are using the app, you are already signed in. Remember that because Power Apps is part of Office 365. All right. So when you have been shared an app, when you launch the app means you already signed into your Office 365, ma? That means, okay, you have already signed into your Azure Active Directory, right? And based on your user permission, whether you got permission to go into the SharePoint, then only you're able to interact with the app. So no point I give you an app, right, where the app is supposed to be able to edit data and create data and save direct to SharePoint, but you're not a member of the SharePoint site. So usage of the app is forbidden in your case. So it's about how you share the app to the respective people in your organization. So I hardly see, I will tell you that I hardly see examples of Power Apps where you have to design login screens and all that. All right. So because the app is by default attached, okay, it's part of your Office 365 environment. They can read immediately. Now, let me just simply show a demo, just in case you want to find out. Let me leave this here first. I'm not gonna, I just show you how I integrate Power Automate from Power Apps already, right? So what I can show you here very simply is, hang on, let's see what I can show you. I'll go back to my main menu here. Maybe at the top here, I got some space, right? I'm gonna insert, just to prove to you, yeah, insert a label, right? The label here, right? Because it's dark color screen, all that, right? So what I'm gonna show is, let me change my font color to white color. Where's my font color? Here. Click here, font color white. So you can see by default text. And here in the home, I want to change my alignment to align to the right, start from the right. So instead of now typing the text, the text is text, I change my text. I look for the property here. What is text? There, my text property. Currently, my text property is the value text. Now, just to show you, I can actually connect to my Office 365. But you see, I don't have a connection to Office 365 yet. So I cannot access my Office 365. So you have to make a connection to Office 365. So what I can do is I will go into my data here, right? I want to add data, okay, by searching for, let's say, Office. There. Office 365, can you see users? I got connected to directly my Office 365 users. I got Outlook, Mail, whatever. I want to connect to the users because you want to check, you want to look for authentication. So I just use Office 365 users. So I just need to click connect here, and I'm connected to my Office 365 users connector. So with the connector already part of this app, now what I can do, I return to this here right now. This particular label right now. Let me try to type in the text. Okay, Office. Maybe I'll do something like this. Welcome. Okay, I type the word welcome, a string space, and I concatenate this with Office 365 there. Now I can see Office 365 users dot. I want to read what? Read the user. User profile. Okay, in the user profile, I can read a particular user ID, but actually, now I come to think of it, if I want to read my current user, so whichever user that is launching the app, I want to say welcome this name, right? I can directly use the user. There's a user object there, user. The user object dot, I can read the email, the full name. So let's say I choose full name. Now look at that. The preview says my name. Can you see welcome Gerald home? All right. So automatically they can read because the user, there's a function to read who is a current user, currently authenticated user that is using this app. So if this app I share to, let's say, my associate Randy, right? So if he launches this, right, his main screen will show welcome Randy, right? If I share to, let's say, Tom, welcome Tom, welcome Dick, welcome Harry, whoever, all right? So these are the users which they read directly, okay? Okay, how do you deploy the desktop app? There's another question here. Desktop app. There is no desktop app here. This app, right, is actually meant for mobile, actually. And the app is practically targeting to be launched from browser. If you want to browse from your laptop, it's going to be browser. All right. So like I said, that this one, okay, let's say I'm going to save it right now. One more time, I'm going to file and save this app. You see, I save, right? And then I have to publish it. I click publish, and now when it gets published, this version, because I just make changes, I publish this version, it goes into my own account. All right. Now I can click the button share now if I want to share to my other users. So other users, right, okay, who receive my sharing will see the app in there and immediately launch from his phone or from his own account. Okay. So I'm going to click share here just to show you the screen. So in the share here, this is where I'm the owner, you can see, and I can start typing, let's say, for example, Randy. Right, I can see Randy Lee here, and I can share to him as a user, right? And I can make him co-owner also, so that he can even help me edit my app. No problem with that. All right. So, but anyway, that's just to show the screen how I share, and I can start typing in all these users who I want to share, right? But anyway, that's just sharing. But if you're talking about how do you want to run and deploy the app, there's nothing to deploy. Like what you have seen just now. Okay, back to my apps here. I can see my app. Once I sign into the browser, I see my app. I click the app, I start running it on my browser. Okay, so you can see that it's running on the browser. It's just that. Okay. Can we allow external users to access the app? Okay. The only way for you to allow external users to access the app, right, is all about in your Office 365 admin, right, in your so-called list of users. So do you have enough sort of like just a user license? Because we require a user license with Office 365, right? It's not like I share this app and I give unless you give the whole app together with the source code or whatever. But that is not called sharing. That's called giving, right? Remember, it's the same thing like what those of you guys who learn Power BI also same thing, right? oh, I can actually give the whole PBIX file to my colleague, and then that's called sharing. I say, no, that's not sharing, that's giving. You give your PBIX, right? The fella can actually go and modify. And what he or she modify is nothing to do with you. And what you modify is nothing to do with her. So you are giving the whole extra copy away. But like I say, here, there is no way of sharing to external users unless you create and enable guest accounts in your own domain, in your own organization. You enable guest. And in your guest account, right, you somehow rather needs to assign it with, I don't know, maybe a license of Office 365. That's the only way that you can share this app to the person, and they can then launch the app. All right. So that's the only predicament. Remember, this app that you build within, it's only an internal app to your organization. It's not really for public. All right. So because you need license, okay, at least minimum is Office 365, Power Apps for Office 365 to run this. And that also depends whether you build your app, right, okay, with what type of connectors. Maybe in the background, you connect to certain other storages which require premium license. So how in the world am I sharing to my external party where I also need to grant and give license to the external party? So it's a bit tough to do that, right? So that's a thing, okay? And you see, this is how I run my app. If you see desktop, I run it in my browser. That's the only way, you see? So when I click, you see, it's just that, right? Now, let me show you how I run this on my phone. I'm using this thing called A Power here. Okay, hang on, guys. I'm trying to show you my screen, okay, so let me show you on my mobile right now. Okay, hang on, guys. I'm trying to mirror my phone here. Okay, so you see, this is my phone. I'm mirroring here. Okay, and I'm just going to show you how I actually do it. So I've got my Microsoft here. See, I've installed a lot of things here. You see all these things, right? I can see my Power Apps here. So I'm going to type on Power Apps and launch my Power Apps. So this is on my phone. This is exactly my phone. Okay, I'm just mirroring it. Okay, so using this A Power. So you can see I've got I've got my own GemRain app. Okay, T-shirt orders to manage that. For those of you who have been training with GemRain and all that, okay, you know that we do have T-shirts and all that. So this is actually to track my T-shirt orders and all that. But I've got this one. You see, I just deployed this Our Academy. So when I can actually, I didn't pay for this app, so I cannot control it from here. So I have to control from my phone. So I make a tab here, Our Academy. That's the name of my app. Okay, so you can see it's opening up the app and see on my phone. So here you can see at the top, you can see the top here. It says here a new version of app is available. Tap to update now. So I can tap it to update. They update it instantaneously, and you can see there. Welcome Gerald home. Look at that. It's here. All right. So I can also tap here, and then it works perfectly well. See PowerPoint. So it goes here, and this is just a simple video, just like that. Same default video, and the product description is supposed to be here. I can tap here to go back. Then I click on Teams, and the same YouTube video will be here, and I can play and all that. All right, no problem. So that's roughly okay how. And then to close the app, I can just swipe from the right-hand side. Just swipe like this. I can close the app. Okay, so that's ultimately how this app works, how it looks like on the phone. So I just launch it from the phone, and anything I've published, I can log in from my phone, Power Apps. All you need to do is to install Power Apps. And I can see all apps here at the bottom. I can see that I've got 2 apps currently here. Okay, right. So of course you need to sign in. That's actually how I sign in to my GemRain.net account, my Office 365 account. And from here, they will know that how many apps that you've been shared with, and that's how you launch it from your phone. Okay. All right. So yep, I think I need to disconnect right now. Okay, cool. All right. So okay. So if you got any other questions, let me just check. I know that I've got lots of questions from here. Okay. So what if we need to share for a group of colleagues from what is that, from CN, from colleague? Okay, let's say you're talking about CN. I've assumed as China colleague. 5,000 number of users will be troublesome. Share name by name. Yeah, of course, right? You can have a group, right? Because all is connected or authenticated from your Azure Active Directory. You know that it's part of Office 365. You can not just create a user, but you can create a group. You can share to a group, no problem. A group name, right? But this is also meaning to say that whatever permission that you're gonna have inside the group, right? then you'll welcome this user, whatever, right? Okay, they will still function, you know, even though you share directly to a group, right? But it will filter down to all the members of the group, and whatever permission you need to use on the app, every single one person belonging to the group will share the equal permission. You cannot customize it unless you split them into different groups. That's the only way. And then when you share and name after the groups. Possibly not one group, but maybe you split them into like 5 groups. Each group will have different permission, all right? So it can be done. And can we use scheduler to trigger Power Automate to launch an event like download attachment from email and extract the content of the attachment into our database? Well, yes, of course. That's what we need to create what we call a timer flow. That's on Power Automate, all right? And I'm going to show you bits and pieces later on when I step into the demo of Power Automate. Which I'm about to do so because Power Apps is all about showing you how the app is, it looks like, you know, and also how when I edit the app, every button I add to the app, right? So how can I trigger a flow, which you can see there's a button for Power Automate, and you can from there create a flow instantaneously and fire it up, right? So can it connect to SAP? I've never tried really on SAP though. You're talking about your app connecting to SAP. Now, I believe, okay, that the only way to test that, okay, is I go and edit my app once more. All right. You already have locked. Okay, wait, cancel first. I think I have it here. So I will go into my back to my editing here. Let me try to answer you this way. Okay, where add data. I'm going to look into my connectors, see all connectors. So from here, I'm going to search for SAP. There you go. Your answer is here. Okay, you can connect to SAP, but remember, looking at all the diamond, look at all the diamond. Whoo, diamond means premium. Huh? I can tell you that a lot of all these proprietary connectors, all that requires premium license. When you see the diamond shape means connecting to this, using this connector, you need at least a per user or a per app plan. Okay, so it's not like the simple Power Apps that comes with Office 365 and you can immediately use all connectors, anything. Now, even your own, Microsoft's own SQL Server, they are all, you see, premium plan. You see that? Microsoft SQL Server, you connect to your own SQL Server, also you need premium. MySQL, PostgreSQL, all that, right? What about Azure stuffs? You see, all the Azure contents, all premium. Only Azure AD, not premium. You see that? Okay. So SharePoint, all these things are not premium. SharePoint, see, SharePoint sites, SharePoint Online, no, not premium. You can use it. All right. So all these data sources are available. I can tell you, okay, as of today, right, there are well over how many hundreds. They all started with, I think, 80 plus to 90 connectors. But today, right, we've got around 220. As of the time of last year, late last year, right, they name it as 220 connectors. But as of today, possibly it has grown more than that. All right. Okay. Can Jero share a bit more about Power Apps environment? Have separate environments for? Yes, definitely. Okay, no problem. I will talk about that. You see, I created an environment called webinar. Why is that so? Because I don't want it to conflict and affect my company level environment, you see. And every environment you create, right, is their own database. All right. Now, depending on your subscription, okay, that means depending on your Office 365 plan, that means also you have to know how many number of environments you're allowed to have. Okay. So usually you have to pay more in this case, okay, in order for you to have more production plans, production environments. So I can demonstrate this by going into my admin center, the Power Platform Admin Center. This is where I create my environments. So if I go into my Power Platform Admin Center, right, see the first thing I can see environment. So this is my default environment system. Now I created webinar as a trial. It's a 30 days trial environment. I created this, see 25 days left. I created this like 5 days ago. So this environment, right, which I can also still click on new here, but I can tell you I may not be able to create more environments unless it's a trial. Okay, this feedback I don't want. I click new here. See, I can choose a name, right? And also I cannot create any more production environments. I can only allow to have one because my company subscription is very very small, very cheap, right? It's only one production, but I can create many trials. I can create unlimited number of trials because my company subscription is attached to my Microsoft certification, right? So my well, it's just that, and based on this, right, okay, I'm allowed to have many trials. So the type here is very important. So production, you see, when I choose production, right, when I click on save later on, I'll get an error. I'm not able to create any more productions, but I can create a trial. I think in my case, my subscription, right, I'm not allowed to create sandbox as well. A sandbox is like an isolated environment that looks half like development and half like your production. But typically, it also needs you to have a specific subscription. You have to check with your vendor whether how many sandbox environments you are allowed to have. So when you create a trial here, choose a name, and you can choose a region where you want to place it. All right. And then whether you want to create a database or not, this is your Dataverse. When you say no, right? Of course, okay, let me just simply type in one thing. You can click save. When you say no means you're not using Dataverse. When you say yes means you're going to use Dataverse. All right. So the environments is actually for you to have a separate isolated way where you want to promote different apps with their different data storage if you create a data storage. All right. So now currently what I can show you is on my side here. If I see now I'm in webinar, right? If I go back to my apps, you can see these my apps, right? Just now when you saw my phone, right? Okay, you happen to see if you realize I've got a t-shirt order, but how come it's not here? Because that is on my company level environment. So if I go to my GemRain Consulting, the default environment, see, I switch over the environment. It looks the same, but when I go to apps, I can see my visitor parking log. Oh, I created my visitor parking log in my GemRain Consulting, right? And my t-shirt order is here. You see that, right? So because I created that from my SharePoint, so the visitor parking log is here, right? So again, okay, these are the apps which I don't see just now in my webinar. Okay, so the environment is just to give you an isolated, like I say, environment, an isolated container, pushing you with specific data access and also grouping up your apps, right? Can we animate the button in Power Apps so it become more intuitive for users? Oh, well, the default buttons and all the animation, I believe you have to manipulate the properties, yeah? You have to write formulas to manipulate the properties. Maybe you want to make the button glow when you hover your mouse and all that. I believe, not that I know of by default, okay, when you hover and all that. I believe I've seen that before where people create a component actually. It's rather more on the component where people write some code. You need some development work to maybe create a specific button for that. But the default buttons in Power App, then you want to make it really animate, like fly or pop up to your eyes or whatsoever. I don't think so. There are limited set of what you can do. For example, you have to manipulate the color, you know, and maybe the size, and you have to look at the events, you know, the property that can actually make it change. So not that I know of that when you hover your mouse, okay, they will fire event, right? So yeah, it's not really the animation that you are expecting. Because when you ask me about the, can you make it animate? I believe you have certain level of animation expectation there, which I don't think so. I can guarantee you on that. All right. And okay, is Cameron asks, is the permission the same like SharePoint access where we can invite other people to join in the SharePoint team? Okay, if you're talking about the permission for Power Apps, right, it's not really the same. Power Apps permission are rather like sharing a file. Remember, if you share an app to a person or group, right, treat your app like a file. When you share a file from OneDrive, what do you have? Can edit or can view only. So in Power Apps, right, either you make him a co-owner or just user. That's it. Simple as that. Co-owner means can help you together. It will become an app that both of you can edit. If the person is not co-owner, just like just now I demonstrated, I shared to Randy, right? So that he's not a co-owner. Okay, so when I mark him co-owner, he can help me edit the app together. But if he's not co-owner, he's just a user. That's about it. All right, so it's not like like SharePoint where that is a website where the authentication, the process of granting permission, the role access, I mean the access control, is really complex. Okay, and can we embed a specific web page inside the app? Okay, this is a very good question. embedding a web page in an app. You can do some form of embedding, right? Because we can embed like HTML or something like that. So I believe there's a way for you to embed there, all right? So I don't think so it's going to be a full web page or whatever, but there is actually a viewer, HTML viewer, all right? Let me try to show you. Let's see whether I can demonstrate. Okay, so I'm actually running out of time. I need to go into my demo for Power Automate. Hang on. So I hope that I can demonstrate as much as possible all your questions, right? So let me just go back into my apps here. I want to edit our academy. Just want to show you that. Okay, I always have got this. So let me close this. Leave. I'm here already. I forgotten about this tab. One thing where you can see that about Office 365 is sometimes you forget that you got tabs open, you know. This is something that I feedback to Microsoft, but well, that's their style anyway. So I'm going to go back to my tree view here. In my tree view, let me see whether I can show you. Maybe I just add a new screen. I create a new screen, a blank screen. So this is a blank screen. So in the insert here, right, I remember that you do have some form in the media here, I think. You see, media, you can point your camera, image, and all that, right? PDF, even you got a PDF viewer, you know, you can embed a PDF viewer and you can view a PDF directly there. You can view maps today, but it requires premium, right? Azure Map. But wait, hang on. I remember that I can see an HTML. Is it not the gallery? So not definitely the form. Oh, the viewer is not there already. Custom. These are custom components. Maybe you can build a component, okay, to actually edit and show that. I don't think so. I see HTML or HTML text only. There's no HTML viewer. The only thing I can think of, okay, of embedding, okay, a web page directly into your Power Apps screen, right, is you need a an HTML viewer, right? So possibly you need to build up, okay, a custom component, right? Because they have charts, like even it can embed a Power BI tile or something like that. You see, there's a default chart embedding already. Media, let's see, no. You can only import some form of a data that from somewhere. What I can say that you need to have a viewer. Maybe you have to embed an embed code. Since they've got an HTML text, maybe you can create an HTML text, write the whole text of the HTML in there. That's the only way, right? But not that I know of right now, because I remember seeing a viewer, but I think abruptly they've removed that, right? And can we change the owner of the app or continue to use the app in case where another owner has left the company? Well, of course, that's a very good question there. Of course, like I said earlier, okay, the moment when you share the app out just now, let me just talk about that. If I go back, okay, to here, let's say now here, this app, right, I click here and I go to share. Now in the share, I'm the owner, correct or not? Before, let's say, okay, before I leave, right, I will just type, let's say Randy, all right? I always use his name. So I make him co-owner, right? So he's a co-owner here. So once he's a co-owner, right, now one day if I leave and all that, right, so he still have the owner ability, okay? And of course, in this case, right, okay, of course, I cannot simply say that I'm the owner. Now, but when I actually created this app, when I share to him as a co-owner, both of us, okay, will be the same. But you see, the thing is that here cannot change owner. Okay, I cannot change owner here. So he cannot change the ownership. But in my case, okay, let's see whether I can change ownership or not. Let me discuss this for a while. I can go into the settings here. Let me just check. In the settings here, I don't recall changing the owner directly from here. In the details here, if I go into, I can only see the owner is myself, you know. I don't think so. I can immediately edit, okay, the owner just like that. So if I go into edit mode, because most possibly what I can do, right, is that when I change, when I add a co-owner, you can do everything and manage that particular app. Let me go back to the file here and in my settings. So possibly, because I haven't seen that place where they can allow me to switch the owner just like that, because the settings are automatically looking at who is the owner. But actually, the fastest way for me, if you ask me to change owner, right, what I can do is I export the app. Okay, I just export the app. Everything I can export it out, and I give the whole zip file which I exported, right, to the new person who's going to take ownership. I ask him or her to import it into his own account. He become the new owner. That's it. Whoever imports is the owner. And then after that, okay, if I leave or whatever, then my account, okay, will be resalvaged. That's it. Okay, so it's just that. All right. And can you touch a little about Portal? If I have, no, I am not going to touch Portal. I don't think so. I have time on Portal because I actually ran out of time on Power Apps. I'm only left with so much time for only Power Automate. Okay, so sorry about that. But I'll come up with all these small webinars to come to address like AI Builder and portals and upcomings. Don't worry. Okay, you guys definitely can sign up for free. All my webinars are definitely for free. All right. So don't worry, you guys just need to stay tuned. All right. So I know that I've not enough time to address most of your requests here. I'm so sorry with that, but rest assured that I will be addressing all your needs upcoming. So what's the difference between trial standard and trial subscription based? Okay. The trial standard, right, is actually based on your what do you call environment, where I can create a trial environment, and this trial I can assign this environment to a number of people, a lot of users we can create. Now, if it's a trial based on subscription, right, they're going to look at your subscription, right, how many number of trials cap limit. The trial that you create, right, okay, it's based on every time you create a trial, 30 days, and that's it. At the end of 30 days, you have to promote and convert it to become production if you are capable of doing that, if you have enough license, or you have to delete it off. Trial subscription based, okay, is looking at the entire subscription, your Office 365 subscription. It's like you create a trial, right, and they follow your subscription time frame, the expiry, all right? So you might have only capable of creating a trial subscription base for maybe 3 trials only, right? But for the trial, which are standard trial, right, okay, it can go a longer way, but only 30 days. But you can assign multiple users from your own company, right, who are able to log into Power Apps and also create their own trials, right? But the trials are individual, lasting 30 days. Some companies, right, okay, they do have this Power Apps Plan 2 trial, where you can actually create a trials, right, unlimited number of trials, and every Tom, Dick, and Harry in the organization also can create their own trial environment, all right? But the trial subscription base is not every Tom, Dick, and Harry can create a trial. Possibly only the admin can create a trial, all right? So that's the only difference there. I know that it's sometimes quite confusing. What's the difference between trial subscription base and trial standard? But the trial subscription base, I believe you need an admin, okay, to do that. Okay, but if I create a user and assign the user with a Power Apps Plan 2 trial subscription, he or she can go into the admin center and create their own environment, trial also. So every user can create their own trials, right? But trial subscription based, only admin can create because it follows your entire Office 365 subscription. Okay, so now, okay, all your questions, okay, will be yeah, just stay tuned there. Okay, so because if we talk about the Power Apps licensing, now this demo, right, okay, this webinar session, I want to go into the demo, the intricate the workings of that. So if we talk about licensing and all those things, okay, I believe once I start, I cannot stop, and I won't have enough time. I'm only left with 45 minutes, and I don't think so 45 minutes is enough for my Power Automate. So I would like to address the licensing separately. Okay, it's I'm not, and anyway, I'm not a licensing trainer. I'm a technical trainer, so I can only cover just simply like the difference between per user plan and per app plan. That's it, right? So I will talk about that closing towards the close. Okay, so I need to step right into my Power Automate because I've been dwelling too long on Power Apps and Power Automate is not there yet. Okay, I'm seriously running out of time. All right, so right now I am going into my Power Automate. I just want to show you a simple demo here. Okay, on what are the types of business process that you can do and stuff like that. Okay, so now let me try to hang on. You give me a while, yeah. Okay. Just give me a second. I need to. Okay. Now, what I want to show you, right, is this. A very simple one that I can do right now is I'm going to show you my my Teams. Let me drag my Teams window over here. Okay. So in my Microsoft Teams last night, I purposely created a new team, right? Okay, called HR, and I created a channel called absences. All right. So my simplest form of demo that I can show you quickly here, right, is that I'm now going to create a Power Automate, which is whereby I have got this particular, let's say, Microsoft Teams, where I allow whoever want to be absent from work. Oh, it's last minute, I am not turning up for work. I've got some serious thing, or maybe today I'm working in a cafe, or I'm working on site, or something like that. That person can come into the HR team in the absences conversation here, post a new conversation, right? And then this particular Power Automate flow will fire and add and block a calendar. Okay, so something like that. So this is actually the easiest way that I can do. So what I can do right now is I'm going to show you how I built a process here. So now this, I'm going to put it aside again. I'm going back to my Power Automate here. I'm going to click on create. I'm going to create a fully automated flow, an automated cloud flow. All right. So just now when you asked me about scheduling, there you can see schedule cloud flow, which uses a timer trigger. Right. That's what you can do. And I'm going to create an automated cloud flow here. Let me give it a flow name called, let's say, log absences. All right. And now I want to select a trigger. People have been doing triggers for SharePoint, this and that. Let me type Teams here. So I can select a trigger. Who or what will trigger this cloud flow, right, to run? So I'm going to look at when a new team member is removed or when a new team member is added. No. When a new channel message is added. Yes, this is the one. When someone posted a new message in a channel, all right, then it will trigger this flow. That's what I wanted. I'll click create right now. Okay. So there, I need to sign into my Microsoft Teams. They are actually signing in right now, and I can now look towards all my teams. This is the first design of my Power Automate here. So whereby I can see this as a trigger. I need to configure my trigger. They need to know what team. First, select a team. You can see that they can see my biz team and HR team. I told you about HR team. I select my HR team, and I can see the channels in there. See, absences and general channel. Just now what you saw. So I will select absences channel. So only monitoring the absences channel right now. Okay, and then what I can do now, I immediately add a new step. So in the new step, what I want to do, right, is I will enter Teams also. Let's see. See, I've also can create an action, something to do and back to Microsoft Teams. So when I select Microsoft Teams, maybe I can choose maybe like, for example, post a message. I can type the word filter here, post. I can post a message in a chat or channel again. Or I can say post a message, okay, as post a choice of options as a flow bot to a user. I can do this as well, right? Maybe I see more here, right? I think there are no more here. I can say post a message in the chat or channel, right? Or I can practically, right, maybe like say I do this, post a message. When someone add a new message, I automated the reply into the chat. So post as what? Post as a flow bot or a user. I can post as myself, as a human being replying you, or I can say I post it as a bot. This is a bot representing my Power Automate flow. So I will post in directly the channel. Okay, I can post directly as in the channel itself, right? And then what is it? The team. So HR team again, and the channel is directly same thing. I reply in the absences, and then the message. That's it. So message is just say, all right, fine, whatever. Okay, simply. So you can, of course, form your own messages like the message body context, the ID. You can see that you've got these content. The dynamic content allows you to put placeholders and read values and concatenate and form your own body there, right? So, but anyway, I'm just going to keep it simple here. So I'm just going to test right now, save. Right, so I've saved this particular flow, just a quick one, right? And then what I can do now is, yeah, I may also want to create an event, you know, after I post a reply into the chat, possibly I click new step again. Now I want to do something to my calendar. I will type calendar, filter calendar. I want to go, I can even connect to Google Calendar, you know, even my outlook.com, the Hotmail, right? Or I can just do my Office 365 calendar, okay, the Outlook. I choose in my Outlook, right? I'm going to post, create an event. I'm going to type in the word event here, filter it up. I want to get events or create an event. I want to create an event, you know. Right now, it's already version 4. I click create an event. Remember that event means go into the calendar and create and post something in the calendar. So I would need to select a calendar. I'll choose just the calendar. And the subject, you see, I can type my subject here. So the subject I can put there, okay, absent from work, something like that. Okay, and the start time. Start time will be the time when I announce right now. So the start time I want to grab here in the expression. I can type a function here. I type UTC now. UTC now is a function to grab the current date and time based on UTC timing. I click OK. All right. And then end time also, okay, well, you know that I'm supposed to choose end time. I add 1 or whatsoever, right? Okay, so, but anyway, I would just want to say UTC now as well, just for the sake, I've got not enough time here, but rest assured that you need to understand that end time, start time is now, and then ending time of your absent, maybe you say UTC now, you must add a time difference of maybe at 1 day or at 2 hours, or something like that. Okay, so you formulate your expression here. So in my type UTC now again, okay, so start time, end time now, I don't bother with that. And then you see my time zone. I say UTC now, I'm going to select my time zone. I'm going to select, of course, Singapore time. Is there a +8? This is Kuala Lumpur, Singapore. There you go. Okay, so I'm going to choose that time zone. Okay, that's it. And you can also choose, you know why I choose start time, end time to be UTC now? Because I can also declare at the bottom there, right? I remember there's one called that. Is it all day event? I can choose this. Yes. So once I said it's an all day event, then I don't bother about the time. Okay, that's it. So I'm just going to click on save right now. All right. So let me click on, once I've saved it already, and I can click on flow checker, right? There's no errors, no problem. All right. So now I'm going to test it. Okay, let me test it right now. So let me go back here. My flow is done, all right? So I'm going to test it right now by dragging over this Microsoft Teams here just to demonstrate here. Now I'm here, right? I'm going to create a new conversation. I'm going to post a conversation. I am very sorry as I won't be able to come to work today. Enter. So look at that. Okay, so once I've actually done this, and okay, I'm supposed to be able to get a message soon, right? So let me just go back to my flow here. I just refresh. So you see, it's turned on and will trigger when you add a message to the channel. So sometimes the trigger, okay, won't run so fast. That's the first initial thing. Okay, so I don't see any flow running right now. Not running yet. Oh, come on. It's supposed to run already. So still no reply and then nothing yet. But yeah, I always find this issue, okay, when I've just only created this in the edit here. Actually, I can just test it from here, you know. Let me try to test this. I will test this, right, okay, automatically. There are no runs for this. There's no run. I can test it manually here. I just click on test right now, one more time. So now, you see, to see work, add a message to the channel. Okay, so I'm back to my channel again. I try to add another message into the channel. Okay. I said, there. It's running already. Yeah, cool. I don't need to. It already ran. I don't need to test. Look at that. You see, I got a reply. All right, fine. You see, it's from the bot. So the bot is a Power Automate bot, Gerald Hong via Power Automate. You see, so it replied me here. Okay. So it's there. It ran already. And you know what? I'm going to launch my Outlook. Let me bring to you my Outlook. And in my Outlook, I'm going to check my calendar and see whether I've blocked my calendar automatically or not. All right, so yeah, it's just a bit slower. I think maybe they are trying to install the bot. So in my calendar here, let me just go to my calendar. You can see that, ooh, there you go, absent from work. Oh, hang on. Why am I being prompted to sign in? Okay, so here you can see my calendar is added. Look at that. They're absent from work. It's here. All right, all day. So they've automatically done that for me. Okay. So that's how I got the whole thing. There you can see that even I got a reminder, Tango with this 1 hour overdue and absent from work as well. Okay, so that is actually a very quick one. Okay, a very simple way, okay, of knowing, okay, and finding out that my flow works. And you can see that it's all green color done, right? And okay, so that's one of the first flow that I can show you. Now, I can also do a flow, right, okay, that can get from my forms, you know. Let me quickly do this. I still got half an hour more, so let me go through another round of demo, what a Power Automate flow can do. Let me show you my forms, okay. Last night, I've designed a form called Microsoft 365 Pilot Run. This is just for this, okay, particular show, right, this webinar. So I created a simple form using Microsoft Forms, which I intend to collect feedback. Am I right? People's got to fill up the form. So I've got a question, okay. This question I've forgotten to ask, okay, which of the, let me just change the question here, okay. The question would be, let's say, which app do you use the most? Okay, let's say something like this. All right. So you see, so I presented them, okay, with a question like this so they can choose and then rate the app and then put some notes. That's it, right? I'm supposed to get feedback. So people are going to fill up the form. In fact, later on at the end of this webinar, you guys are going to also fill up the this webinar's evaluation form. All right, that's usual. So now, what if I want people, right, okay, to fill up the form, and I want a flow to run in the background to check whether people rated badly or poorly? I will only get the flow, okay, to send me an email, okay, oh, somebody rated poorly, gave a bad feedback. Okay, so something like that. I would like this one. I want to have a flow to notify me of bad ratings. That's what I want to do right now. Okay, so I'm going to go and launch my Power Automate one more time. And I'm going to show you how I create this another flow. Okay, so my flows here, I've got this log absences. Now I want to create another new flow, automated cloud flow. I'm going to call this as bad feedback alert. That's the name. And now the trigger, right? I can choose a trigger of forms. You see? So when a new response is submitted, yes. So this flow will get triggered every time when someone submit a flow, submit a form, sorry, submit a form response. So I'm going to select this and I click create. So they're signing into my Microsoft Forms. I need to pick a form. So pick a form. So you can see I've got so many forms here, right? I want to select the Microsoft 365 Pilot Run Feedback. This is a form special to gather feedback. So from this form now, I'm going to add a new step. So it will get triggered when someone submitted a response on that form. Okay. So in the new step, right, I want to also choose forms, Microsoft Forms. Why? I want to get the feedback. You see, there's only one action I can do now. I must get and read the response detail first before finding out whether the person give 2-star only or 5-star, correct now? So I click get response details. I must read. So the form ID here, right, I have to choose which form. So that's going to be my Microsoft 365 Pilot Run Feedback form again. All right. And the response ID, right, I need to choose the only one is I need to read is the response ID. Response ID is a dynamic ID that gets generated the moment someone submits a response. That ID is captured that triggers this particular flow to run. So every multiple user who keep on filling up the form, submit, the flow will get triggered multiple times. Okay, and every time will have their own unique response ID. And this response ID is what I want to capture right now. I click this, and this is unique for every single one responses. Okay, so once I've got this here, now I add another new step. So once I get the response details here, you see, I got from this form, the response ID. Okay, now what is my next step? I want to choose a condition, of course. Choose a condition. See, if the condition is true, yes, do what? If no, do what here, right? So in the condition, right, I just type the name. Maybe just to rename this step. It's good for you to, for documentation to provide. I just say, is it a bad rating? I rename the step so that at least sometimes people read the step, they understand what is it doing. So, but most importantly here, right, is that I want to choose a value. Okay, choose a value. Oh yeah, one more thing. It's always best if I do not want to include the question mark. Because in the background, they generate a code. They got some code in there, which you don't see here. But with the question mark, I try to avoid not to include the question mark, right? Because actually, the question mark in the name, it's supposed to be not allowed because the code, okay, will have a conflict based on all these things. So I remove the question mark when I rename that. So now, in the choose a value here, right, I'm going to choose an expression. Why? Because I'm going to write a formula. I want to use the int function. The int function, right, okay, it's a function, right, that will convert the integer. I want to make sure that I convert it correctly to integer. So what do I want to convert to integer? In the dynamic content, I switch over, I want to look at the rate the app, you see? This is the name of my question, you know, because the rate the app is a rating, what, 5-star, right? So that is 5-star object. I want to convert and obtain an integer value. If the user score 3-star is 3, if it's 5 is 5, correct? So I rate the app. So I wrap the entire rate the app inside this int just to make sure that I convert it to integer before I evaluate. So now I'm going to click on OK. Right, so we can see the whole formula. Okay, the expression is in there. Okay, and then here is equal to, I'm going to change it to if it's less than. If it's less than, so I'm going to put it if it's less than 3. That means either 1-star or 2-star, I consider bad feedback. 3, 4, 5 is okay, it's good. All right, so now I just check if it's less than 3. If it's less than 3, what am I going to do? So if yes, less than 3, yes, I add an action here. I want to go to my Teams and post a message again. So maybe I want to go and search for Teams. I go to Microsoft Teams again. Let's make use of my HR team again, and then the same absences channel. I know that I'm supposed to have other channels, right? But I just want to make use of the existing one, right? So I'm just going to choose, let's say, post a message again in a chat or channel. As a flow bot, I'm going to select the option of posting it as in a channel, right? And then which team, it's going to be the HR team again. Which channel, I will select the same absences channel, or maybe now I put it into the general channel. Okay, let's just general channel because the absences is nothing to do with this, right? And now what I want to do is in the headline here, I will make it bold. I type there, bad feedback detected. Ding, ding, ding. All right, there you go. With some sound effects there. Bad feedback, and then 3 exclamation mark there. All right. And then I want to press enter here. I want to know, I want to type there, no more bold. Okay. A bad feedback. Maybe I can zoom in here to show you. A bad feedback has been detected for, you want to know the name of the app, right? Okay. You want to know which name of the app. So for, I want to show here right now. So which app do you use the most? I remember this is actually the name of the question that users select the app, right? I will click here. So because this one, okay, will be the name of the app. So a bad feedback has been detected for the name of the app here, all right? And then I also want to show, okay, which has a rating of, then I'll put there, rate the app. There you go. Okay. So I want to include this into the message. That's it. All right. Okay, so now once it's all done there, and you know, if you want, right, okay, to find out, okay, who's the person who gave this bad feedback, right? Okay, I can also press enter here, right? Okay, I put in, I open a bracket here. I choose responder email and I close the bracket. That means, right, I'm using this placeholder. So in my message, right, I'll have the responder email. So I know who's the person who rated me, the app very low. Okay, I want to include also responders email here. These are all the things that I can actually include. So now I can comfortably click on save here. All right. So if no, not necessarily you have to do anything. If it's nothing, then okay, I keep quiet. But if it's yes, lower, lesser than 3, then I'll get this particular message, right? So let's test it right now. Okay, so what I'm going to do, right, I'm going to click test right now. I can do test here, and I can test this, okay, by manually. I click test right now. So now they're waiting for me to submit a response to the form. So I'm going to go to the form. I'm going to submit a response. So let me try to do a preview right now. And I'll submit myself, okay? I'm gonna submit myself. So I'm gonna choose Microsoft Team, and I rate it really 2-star only, okay? And I want to provide, okay? It hangs sometimes, something like that. Then I click submit. When I submit this, I've got a response. Thank you very much, okay? And then here they are running. You see, all run already, all green color. Can you see that? They capture that true. And they ran here already. And you know what? Let me show you my teams. Drag over my teams here. Okay. Wow, there's so many. All right then, all right then, all right then. I actually fire up a lot. Now in the general here, look at that general there. Bad feedback detected there. A bad feedback has been detected for there Microsoft Team, which has a rating of 2. See, and then my email address was lit. That was my responder. That's a person who gave me the 2, and that's myself, right? So you can see that the flow fired exactly whenever I receive that. So if I put in rating 3 or 4 or 5, you won't get any feedback from the flow, right? So that's ultimately, okay, some of the things I can do here. That's on the Power Automate here. Wow, I've got so many absent from work. Somebody must have posted something. I don't know, possibly, right, because I've added, you know, the because just I click many times, right? So yep. And you know what? I've got one interesting demo to show you actually. This is I would like to also include Power BI into here. See, as a Power BI trainer, I still cannot avoid from Power BI, even though I was trying to talk about only Power Apps and Power Automate, how it goes. But this is where I want to show you, right, okay, how the Power BI can integrate with the Power Apps. This is actually a bonus that I want to demonstrate. I'm not so sure how many of you guys know that this thing can happen, right? But this is, I found this to be very interesting to show because I've got quite a number of requests earlier, and I presented this, okay, in one of the Power Platform Asia Pacific community before, which I've done this demo quite some time ago. All right, so what I want to show you here, right, is that I'm going to show you how to do streaming data set from Power BI. I want to be able to have a dashboard that shows live update to my chart, right? By when user fill up something in Power Apps. So even though there's nothing to do with Power Automate here, okay, but you know Power BI, Power Apps, and Power Automate are now fully integrated. Let me launch my Power BI desktop here. Okay. So I'm launching my Power BI desktop. Sorry, I think it's over here on my second monitor. Let me drag over here. Okay, so my Power BI desktop here. Okay, so I intend to do something, right? So you can see today, right, in Power BI desktop, do you guys realize, okay, that now in the insert here, right? Look at this part. Look at this part. Power Apps, Power Automate. Power Automate is still preview. Today, I can create a Power Automate button to trigger automated tasks without leaving Power BI. See? That means that today in your Power BI report, right, I can add a button, you know, when I click the button on the report, right, they will fire a flow. The flow help me to maybe refresh my data set, also no problem. Do you understand that today? Because last time a lot of people requested, hey, I'm a viewer, I am viewing a report, but the report doesn't seem to show me the most recent data. How can I refresh it? But refreshing can only be performed if you go to the portal and then you either refresh now and all that. but provided you have actually installed the Power BI gateway that allows refreshing. But now you can do it with a flow. I can click the button and immediately triggers a flow that will refresh, okay, the data set for me, right? But what I want to demonstrate, okay, is actually Power Apps. I'm not so sure how many of you have seen this, okay, but let me share to you this demo here. How many absent from work am I getting here? So you know what, to prevent this from happening, let me try, because I think I've got this log absence here. Let me try to delete off this flow here, or maybe I turn it off. If I do not want it to run, right, I can just click on turn off without deleting it. You see, now it's disabled. So it's turned off, right? And it's not actually going to run soon. So anyway, what I can do now quickly, right? Let me just turn off this one. I want to show you now by logging to my app.powerbi.com. Okay, just watch this. Now I have created, okay, a training workspace. Okay, let me go to workspaces. In my training workspace, I've got nothing much in there. I've only got one AdventureWorks model and stuff like that, right? So what I intend to do now is I want to create a streaming data set directly here. So I'm going to click on get data here, right? Sorry, in the get data here, right? Okay, I intend to just to connect to files, databases and all that, right? But I don't intend to get data just like that. I want to create. Hang on, you give me a second. In the training here, right, I want to create a new streaming dataset. Streaming dataset, right, is actually a dataset where you can capture data which is live, right, real time. So I click streaming dataset. Now the fastest way, I don't want to use Azure, all that. The fastest way, I want to show you creating a very simple JSON-based data. Okay, just for this, just hang on. I choose API. Based on API, I click new. So the dataset name, I want to give it what kind of name? So I'm just going to give it a name. Let's say I simply call it a scoreboard. I call it scoreboard. Okay. Then I want to create all these items. Okay. I'm going to add what are the fields available. So the first field I want definitely is a score. Okay. You see, they are forming my JSON here. Score is a number. Okay. Next one, I want it to be, let's say, the person. Person is text. All right, and then maybe I want a date, which is date time. Only 3. I think that's enough. You see, it's here already. Okay, and the most important thing, right, is this one: historic data analysis. I must turn on. In order for this thing to work, I must turn on historic data analysis. All right. So once I've got this here, right, now what I can do next is I'm just going to click on create. So I am creating a new streaming data set, right? Just like this, as you can see, this is the push URL here, right, that I'm getting, right? And you can see the data set is here. It's called scoreboard. It's a streaming data set, all right? So now what I intend to do now, okay, is I'm going to click on done. What I can do right here, when I hover your mouse here in the scoreboard, right, I can click this triple dot here, right? I can create a report, you know. Okay, I can create a report. Actually, what I intend to demonstrate is I create a report directly here in the website. I click create a report. Okay, and you can see I open up something like Power BI desktop. Actually, I don't even need to open my Power BI desktop. I close it directly live on my browser, right? So you can see there real-time data. The table is there called real-time data. And can you see date, person, score? Can you see these 3? Okay. So what I want to do right now, right, okay, just to demonstrate a very quick one, I want to drag, let's say, the person. Okay. Before that, okay, I want to change it to maybe a clustered column chart. I change this to cluster column chart. So person is on the axis, and then the score is on the value, of course. Okay, so this is my simple chart here right now. Okay, just a simple demo. I want to show you what can happen here, right? Now, what I want to do also is I want to click the push pin here, pin the visual to directly a dashboard. I want to immediately create a dashboard. So the dashboard, first of all, I want to save my report. I want to save it. I call it scoreboard report. Let's save my report first. Okay. So there. So my report is saved. Okay. And once I click that particular one right now, I can click this push pin. I pin this visual to a new dashboard. Now I call it, let's say, score dash. I call it score dash pin. I pin this chart there first. right? So that's for now. Okay, so now what I need to do is I want to go back to my report. In this report, I want to edit again. Back to editing my report, all right? So what I intend to do now, okay, is I'm going to add a Power Apps for Power BI visual. There you go. This is going to be very fun. So I'm going to click the empty area. I'm going to use Power Apps for Power BI visual. Okay, there you go. This is a visual, right, that you embed Power Apps right here into your Power BI. All right, so let me just make it a bit sizer. So what are you going to use with this? First thing first, right, is that how to get started, I need to drag the fields into my Power Apps. Because remember, I got this table, right, of the date, the person, the score, right? So I want to drag and drop all these 3 fields into it. So the first thing I'm going to drag is the person, drag and drop. Sorry, not select here first, right? I go to the fields, not here inside, but here in the Power Apps data. I drag the person to the field here, see? Then drag maybe the date, second field, right? And then also the score. So all 3 fields are added into my Power Apps here, okay? And I have to choose and change my, my environment. I would make sure I change it to webinar environment, right? Because I got 2 environments here, so I can choose it. So I choose webinar environment. And you know what? I can directly click create new, and they bring me over to Power Apps and create a new app, okay? So I'm going to design my new app here. Let me try. All right, so I've got a new app, and you can see immediately they gave me something like this, or lorem ipsum and whatever, right? Okay, so what I intend to do here is I want to destroy everything here from scratch. Now, I'm going to just quickly show you, right? Insert, I want to create an input, maybe use a rating control. I'm not going to design this very beautifully, okay, because I'm running out of time already, right? Just to show you, this is actually the rating, right? And then possibly maybe I create a text box, text input. This text input, okay, I'm supposed to get the person, okay, to fill up, okay, key in name. All right, so by default, no input. I will have a watermark key in name, and then I'm going to have a button immediately. The button is to submit. So the text is submit. All right, as simple as that. So in the button, you know what I'm going to do? Okay, in the button, right? This is the text input and all that. So that means I'll key in the person's name, and then I'll put a scoring here, right? Now, once I've done that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the button, and this also involves me to go to action and Power Automate. You see, I get to demonstrate Power BI plus Power Automate plus Power Apps all in one demo. This is what I'm doing right now. Okay, so this is Power Apps. I designed a simple app like this. When I click the button, I trigger Power Automate. I create a flow that will perform something, right? I'm going to create a flow right now. See, now Power Automate. So in Power Automate, right, okay, I'm going to choose a Power Apps button because it fired from the button. There's a template. So from Power Apps, the button which is triggered, I'll create a new step. The step I'm going to do is back to Power BI. I choose Power BI connector. You see, there's a Power BI source. And what am I trying to do right now, right, okay, is I'm going to add an action, right, to add something, okay? I'm going to add rows. Maybe I would say I want to add an insert record, because whatever the Power Apps type in the name, typing in the, select the score, right? I'm going to insert it as a row data into my table. Okay, so I'm going to say add rows. So then add rows to a data set. Look at that. I can trigger Power Automate flow to insert a record into my Power BI dataset. So I'm going to select this. So I'm signing into my Power BI. Okay, there you go. The workspace is my training workspace. You can see they can read that. The dataset is my scoreboard dataset. Wow, they can see, no problem. And which table? The table is called real-time data. Exactly what you saw just now. That's the table. Right, and now they know that I've got 3 columns there. Score column, okay, score, person, and date. So what is the data that I want to insert? So score. When I click score, right, I want to do this right now. I want to say the score, us in Power Apps. Haha, see, us in Power Apps. The person also, I say us in Power Apps. But the date, right, I don't want to ask. The date, right, I just want to just simply save that. Under expression, I choose to input UTC now. Just use a function to capture the date and time. That's it. That's all. But these two, right, score and person, I can grab from my Power Apps. Remember here? This one is the person, this is the score. All right. So that's what I say ask in Power Apps. Okay. So once I've done that, I just need to click on save. Right. So now, once everything has been asked in Power Apps, okay, once I say right now, I want to actually make sure that I save the entire workflow. Okay, it's all saved here right now. It's called Power Apps button. The name of the flow is just called Power Apps button. I do not want to rename it. You guys can rename it on your own, no problem. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I return back to my Power Apps. Okay, there, can you see the flow name appear here already? The available flow, right? And you are going to choose the flow, adding the flow. The flow you designed earlier, you saved already, immediately appear here. And now can you see they added the name of the flow called Power Apps button. If I name the flow as ABC, it will be called ABC here dot run. So in the run parameter, look at this. In the run here, right, they expect me to set, okay, what is the score and then the name. So they are trying to actually assign, okay, what is the score? Hang on, I think flow associated with button 1, flow and the environment. Wait, let me choose this Power Apps button here because I see that I'm supposed to have two things that I add. Let me erase this first. Okay, I'm going to select this one again. Let me try to add. Because they're showing me only one, which is a score. I need to have a person also. So right now, you can see they expect me to add, okay, what is a score? So score, I will select this one. What is the name of this? It's called rating 1. So I'm going to type in there, rating 1 dot value. Rating 1 dot value is that, okay? So, but the person is not there. How come I'm supposed to have the person? So person also is called, okay, score person is, oh, no wonder. Stupid me. So person here, right, I'm going to say see more ask in Power Apps again. No wonder. It's supposed to be underscore score and person. No wonder. Okay, save it first. My mistake, guys. My mistake. Because I just selected the same thing. All right, good. So now once I save already, back to my Power Apps again. So they have updated this. Okay, let me just remove this. Remove the whole formula once more. Okay, so I need to close this again. Let me try to refresh again. So this button, click Power Automate. I see this, I select, they're adding, and I should get two parameters that I needed. Two parameters. Yes, finally, look at that. I got two parameters. They need the score and they need the person, all right? So first of all, score is what? Score, I get it from the rating 1. The rating 1 control dot value, right? Comma. And then person is what? Person is my text input control. Text input 1 dot text. That's it. Only two parameters needed. These are the two things I pass into my flow. My flow will run. Okay. So I just press Control Enter. That's it. So I have completed, okay, that. And yeah, so that's actually all done. And you know what? I quickly do a save for my flow. Sorry, for my Power Apps here. So in file, I just save this app. I just call it demo. And I save it. Okay, cool. Now, once I save it, right, back to my Power BI. Look at that. My app is now running directly in the report, you know. Check this out. See? Yeah. You know what I can demonstrate right now is I key in the name, Gerald. I give it 4-star. When I click the submit button, right? Okay. And when I refresh, ta-dang, my report jumps right in. If I've got another person key in, Mike, key in 3-star, I click submit. I just need to refresh and ta-dang, it's here. You see that? So I also want to pin this. You see, the thing is that I can pin this also to my same dashboard, my score dash. I click pin again. to make this really live, right? Really live, I can view it in my dashboard right now. So now what I do, I go back to my dashboard. Let me just click file and save this guy, save this report. When I go to my training, I can see my score dash. I go to my score dash. You see, this is my dashboard. Now I can have this and this one as well. Maybe this one, put it aside. This is a dashboard, right? So let's see whether the dashboard can be live or not, because it's supposed to be streaming data. So of course, okay, I need some, oops, sorry, because I need the way to refresh also, because I didn't set up the refreshing, right? So you can see here, what happened right now. Wait, let me go back to my dashboard. I think my dashboard, okay, lost it. There you go. So now I can, let's say Michelle, right? When I select, let's say 5-star, when I click submit, okay. So there, you see, dashboard is live. Report, you have to click refresh. Dashboard is live. So if Gerald again, let's say I fill up again this time. Just now I gave 4-star, right? Now I give 2-star. They will be total up. You see, they'll be, I submit, it becomes 6-star already. You see, now I go to the front. Okay, if there's another one, let's say Rajesh comes in and Rajesh gives 4-star and click submit, there'll be a new person added. See, by default, live, auto, real time. Okay, that's the demo that I can show you guys, right? That allows you to see all 3 in one. Even though this webinar, right, is just Tango, but I thought of this demo, right, okay, last minute, only last night, which I say that Power Apps, Power Automate. What about why I want to leave Power BI behind? I could have called this again as a group party, whereby I've got Power BI, I've got Power Automate, I've got Power Apps, all 3 in one. All right, so it can continue to work on your dashboard. That means the form, the app can run directly in the Power BI dashboard, allow people to fill up the information, right? So now I've got another one, Randy comes in. Randy give only 3-star, click submit, and live, added another person. All right, Randy again fill up 5-star, submit, and his bar is going to be there. He now goes in front. He gives 5-star again, submit. Okay, submit. Oh, his score keep on summing up. Okay, and getting higher and higher, taller and taller. All right. So there you go. So this is actually how a real-time data set can be created, where I use Power Apps, right, to collect the data, right, which I use Power Automate to, when I submit the data, I use Power Automate to insert a new record into the table, into the live data set. And because this table, right, I also show them as a chart, the chart immediately updates itself automatically. I don't need to run and create or install a gateway or whatsoever, right, to refresh that, as long as you put it onto your dashboard, right? But if I open a report, report cannot. Report must need to refresh, because you see, when I go back to a scoreboard report, I open the report. Report, if I fill up here, let's say now with, you see, can you see the report is still with these 2 guys? So I have to refresh, okay? I have to click refresh here. When I click refresh the visual, now only updated. So if I update another person, let's say Natalie, all right, 1-star only, click submit. You see, it's not going to live show here. You must refresh the report, and then Natalie added here. See, but if you place these 2 visuals directly on a dashboard, right, it's live, it's immediate, because it's a streaming data set, right? So that's actually what you have seen here. Okay, quite nicely done, whereby Microsoft now made the Power Apps and Power Automate integration added as a visual type into your Power BI, right? So this last part is just towards the very last minute, last night, I thought of this demo to show you, not just between Power Automate and Power Apps, but I also throw in, what about I use Power BI as a central interface? A Power BI dashboard as an interface where people fill up the information here, immediately the report shows. You can have multiple charts also to show the progress of that. So you can also have multiple input forms, right, or Power Apps that you can build. And you guys might be asking me, do I really need this Power Apps app, right, to be embedded here in Power BI before I can do this? Okay, so maybe, right, you will need to check this out. In my Power Apps, right, if I go back, okay, let me show you. In my Power Apps, right, if I go back to my main Power Apps home, I just want you guys to watch this. Okay, in my Power Apps now, I will see the app. in my webinar environment, right? I go to apps. I can see my demo app. Can you see this? Okay. That means, right, I can still use my phone to do it, you know. I can still use my phone to fill up the information, not necessarily must be placed and put onto my Power BI screen, you know. So what I can do, right, okay, is also directly on my Power Apps itself. So let me show you again. Okay, so here, Microsoft, Power Apps, I pull down and refresh. I will see my demo there. There you go. You see my demo is here, right? My visitor parking lot also here, right? I'm going to choose my demo app. I'm launching my demo app. Look at this. See? I can play my app here also. Now, how do I drag this guy? I drag my phone a bit here. Now I go back to my Power BI here. This is a dashboard, right? I don't want to fill up here also, never mind. Let's say, okay, I want to unpin. Not pin the visual, sorry. I unpin, I throw away. Let's say I delete this. Never mind, it's okay. This is a report anyway. Sorry. I go to my score dash. There you go. My dashboard here. Let's say I'm not going to fill up here, okay? I'm going to fill up here in my, where's my phone? There you go, my phone here, right? So I'm going to fill up here. Now, let's say I'm going to type there, this is going to be Ahmad. Ahmad. Okay, and then 4-star. Submit. When I submit, can you see that? Can you see the animation here on the chart? This part, Ahmad. Okay, let me try to submit again. Let's say Ahmad give 3-star now. Submit. Point. Ahmad give 5-star. Submit. Ding. Can you imagine if you don't pin that particular Power Apps on your dashboard only got reports, and you distribute these Power Apps throughout all your staffs, whoever fill up the rating, whatever, right? Your dashboard will be very, 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 very exciting. It's going to be full highly animated. Wow, keep on. If you show that as a line chart, the line chart will be going up, going down, whatever. You know, can you see that? What's the possibility in that? So I'm not saying that the app can only run provided, okay, that you must embed, okay, the Power Apps together in the dashboard. No, not necessarily. Here, delete the tile. No need. Now I'm using my phone. On my phone right here, I fill up the information. So let's add another person. Last one. Okay, this is going to be Kumar. Kumar is the person. Kumar, 2-star. Submit. And fly in. There's animation some more. Guys, check this out. Kumar give 4-star again. Submit. Goes up. Kumar give 5 stars. Submit. You see, it's instantaneous, right? Kumar give 5-star again. Submit. He's trying to beat me down right now. Beat down Randy already. Okay, submit. Oh, Kumar, go. Submit again. Okay, now Randy is number 2. Kumar beat number 1. Oh, look at that. You see that? Okay. This is actually a very exciting opportunity, okay, that can demonstrate how the flow in the background, okay, actually sends the data into Power BI dataset. Just update with a new row, right? But then in the meantime, right, okay, you can also see that the chart is being updated. So you have a real-time dashboard already. Because why? You got so many users of your Power Apps, keep on updating the app or whatever, right? And this data gets added into your Power BI dataset. And in this case, you have a real-time dashboard directly showing the analytics, right? Isn't that cool or what? All right. So with that, right, I'm afraid that's all the time that I have right now, okay, for you guys. So I'm so sorry. Okay, so I didn't realize that just now because of the network problem, right, that my webcam is off. I'm so sorry. Okay, guys, any Q&As, any questions before we wrap up for the webinar? I hope that I wish that I can do this longer because I'm supposed to have more demos for Power Automate because I wasted quite some time on the Power Apps there. All right. You guys can actually go and send me the Q&As. You know, I think you can send an email or something like that if you have any other further questions to ask. You can either send it to Randy, right? Those of you who knows who is Randy, all right? So you can send to him or you can directly email me. So you guys have actually seen my email address just now, gerald@gemrain.net. And before we go off, right? I would like to give you guys a deep thank, okay? Appreciate it seriously. I know maybe I have covered some demos which are what you guys know all this while. Some of you guys says, boring, That's something I know, right? But I'm not so sure whether you know this or not, right? Where I can still, I can, submit 2-star, and I can click submit and all that. Oh, not from here. I have to fire it from my phone, right? 3-star and then submit, and it updates itself, right? So this is something that I feel that not many people who knows this. How to do deep integration, Power BI with Power Automate and Power Apps all in one, right? This is just a simple one. I've got another demo, okay, which is supposed to be a real working app that captures lots of data from everywhere, right? And then just one push of a button, right? They immediately sends the data, update Power BI, and the report goes live. It animates itself, okay? It refreshes itself, okay? Now, before we move away, hang on. Okay. Now, I know that there are quite a number of questions here, so I think we can just slightly, move this off here. Hang on. Oh, yeah. Just give me a second. I need to close my app here. I need to exit my disconnect. Okay. Okay, so let me just try to look at the questions right now. Let's see. In terms of automation, does Power Automate store system and error logs for particular processes? Well, there are activity. There's analytics. You see, Power Automate, right? They do have their. There's an admin center which they generate a dashboard like in the form of reports. Okay, to the administrator. There's a log as well. They do have that, right? In fact, right, in Power Automate, let me see whether I can demonstrate this or not. For my Power Automate, let's see here in the, you see for my, let's say, let me refresh. Okay, so let me show this there. Can you see the bad feedback alert? Okay, Power Apps button. Now that is the one that fires a lot. So when I click the triple dot here, right? So you can see that I've got run history. I've got analytics. Okay, I've got analytics here. So when I click on analytics, they will show me also a Power BI report. So Power BI, Microsoft actually uses Power BI, excuse me, to show you the usage, the firing up, and any errors or not. Okay, so this is last 30 days, last 7 days. I'm not so sure whether it takes some time, possibly because that they don't gather the data as yet. Because it will take time for it to populate the log. Okay, so usage also, you can see here, you can fetch the usage. You can see here, see 0 flow runs. Actually, I've run it many times already. Any errors, So these are all data that what the user can see readily, right? So even error logs as well. It's all directly for every particular flow. Okay, and of course, can 2 to 3 people edit the same app at the same time? As I heard, Power Apps don't support. Yeah, correct. You can actually assign co-ownership to multiple users, yes. But if one person is actually editing and the other person you want to edit, right? Every person, when you edit, I'm sure, I'm afraid they cannot do co-editing live at the same time. Because most of the time, right, you will see that every time you save the app, you actually increase a version. So when you save, most importantly, you just don't publish. But when you have a different version that you save, you might have another person co-editing with you and save and overwrite what you have saved and published earlier. You see, they don't actually allow that, even though you have co-ownership. And if one person already editing that particular app, they don't allow that. Okay, so they don't have that feature per se. It have some function like Google Forms. Are you asking about the Power Apps? Because I know that there are so many questions coming in, and whoa, a lot. I know that you guys are all interested about this, but the Google Forms, right? Okay, is like Microsoft Forms, what you fill up the information. Okay, but like I said, the Power Automate is the flow behind the scene that performs the function. Okay, that what Google Forms can have, because Google Forms, I'm not a fan of Google Forms anyway, so I'm not so sure what kind of function that they can trigger offhand probably. But for Microsoft Forms, you fill up and you have a response, and then you control everything from your flow, right? From your Microsoft Power Automate, right? And can we break down the permission inside the apps? So only certain user can open certain page, but other user cannot access that page and Power Apps. There is actually a role kind of thing. You can use a formula to actually control that breakdown, but not offhand. When you share the particular app to all these users, right, you don't see that kind of role-based access control in there. But I guess again, there is actually a component level way of controlling the permission. You have to write formulas, right? So it's not readily off the shelf that you can configure that from the settings, all right? And can we add additional data into a table from Power App using SharePoint list, like we enter data into the table and then we wish to have, press enter. Okay, I can't really tell. You want your Power App to show the data, the table, and then when you click the plus sign, the form will show, okay, when you fill up. When you press submit, you want the row to immediately appear at the bottom in a browse screen, all that. I'm afraid you have to refresh it. It will appear. Maybe, for example, if you have a screen, okay, you split your screen into two sections. The top section is a small form that people fill up. Then there's a submit button, and at the bottom, right, you want to see the design, all right, that the browse screen. So when you click submit, right, so you just need to send the data updated to your data, all right, and then the browse screen just need to refresh. There's a refresh function they can call, right? So the refresh function is part of your formula. So it depends on how you write the formula, okay? And can Power Apps allow the permission to particularly tab page and app? John can see page A but cannot see page B. That is specific on permissions, you know. So we don't have a permission level control on screen by screen, right? So I'm afraid, okay, that you have to share different apps out, you know. So far, not yet, right? Not that you can actually share a screen type of permission or screen security, but I heard that Microsoft is in the midst of making that to happen. Because I remember I read the user voice segment for Power Automate, right? Sorry, Power Apps or Power Platform. Many of the users are requesting something like role-based access control, like Power BI's RLS, you know, role level security. They want it to be available for Power Apps as well. So yeah, a lot of people are requesting for that, and Microsoft is trying to introduce that as well. And can we remove the name of the owner in Power Automate for created by if we send an email notification? Remove these are things that is sent directly through the notification template, you know, so I'm afraid you cannot remove and automate and customize that unless you go to the backend code, the trigger, and edit the trigger. That one is development again in the background, okay? It's in the form of a JSON file, and I'm not so sure whether you can even modify that JSON schema template, right? But what we see that off on the fly, you cannot change the notification based on who is actually sent, created by, not really, unless you throw away that, because your question is removing the name of the owner. If you send an email notification, so I'm not so sure the email notification you send is sent by, or you're talking about the owner of what? Owner of a report, or I don't know. It seems to me as it can be a 1,001 thing hanging in there. Where else can I access your training or webinar, and would like to learn more from you? Okay, that will be a good news. Now, like I said, that yeah, you can actually go and browse under www.gemrain.net, okay, because I've got a series of courses for Power Platform, specifically Power BI itself, you know, Power Apps, you know, I've got the administration for Power Apps and Power, the Power Platform itself. So I've got a series of courses which I customly developed, all right? And of course, you can also contact and under inquiry at GemRain.net. Later, I'm going to show you the URL. The PowerPoint slide that for that. Does Power Automate only support Microsoft application only? You are asking about Power Automate support only Microsoft application, but Power Automate can connect to even like Google Calendar, because Power Automate is a process, so it can connect to other processes. Do you know that I can actually even, like, for example, I can get connecting to Twitter. If somebody posts a tweet to your account, your Power Automate flow will fire and send you an email, something like that. It can be connected to a lot of other sources, right? Please take note, Microsoft is already open source for a few years already, okay? So can we change the 28 days history to longer? Not really. These are all on the fly because it's a platform offered by Microsoft, and also Microsoft controls all that, right? So you develop an app and its data source is SharePoint. When I share apps to users, I have to add those users as member of SharePoint. They will receive an email with a link to access. How to avoid it? Wow, this is a big one. This one you need training. I cannot on the fly tell you about how to avoid it because in the first place, because your data source is SharePoint, all right? And in order for the user of the app to have access, right? So you may want to grant your user, right, okay, to sign in to gain access to SharePoint with one particular account. So that, and when user use your app also, they may not execute the app, right, using their own credential. You can use a proxy account to do that. And you only grant the proxy account as a member to SharePoint. So if you share the app to hundreds of users, all 100 users, even though they have their own individual account, but the moment they use your app, right, you don't use their own account, but everyone standard use one account. That's called a proxy account, and you grant the proxy account to have the only one permission to go to your SharePoint. But because of this, right, you've got only one problem. Everybody will have the same access. You cannot have different groups of people with different access. Okay, so that's the only thing I can answer you right now. So use a proxy to do that. The dataset of BI is Dataverse. Yeah, correct. The dataset of Power BI is the dataset of Power BI is using Dataverse. Well, Power BI has their own yeah, somewhat like that. Okay, it's actually where the dataset is actually stored directly under Power BI. I wouldn't say that it's actually Dataverse because Power BI, when you create a streaming dataset, right? Okay, it's just part and parcel of. I would say it behaves something like Dataverse. Microsoft never discloses what is actually behind the scene, right? But I perceive that it's actually something like Dataverse because it's also known as a CDM, a common data model anyway. All right. So yeah, the Power App will still. Where can we find the dataset of Power BI? Power BI is actually, you know, like in your Power BI here in the workspace, right? You can see the dataset here. See, it's called a dataset. So it's just here, you know, if you want to ask me, can I go and touch the data set? I want to open up and see what's inside, and you know, then you have to work in the the cloud data center because we are not able to go and break it down, you know, this cloud, you know, so we can't do that. Wow, there's just too many to address right now. And okay, can the Power Apps data entry page in landscape view instead of portrait? Yes, you can actually design it into landscape view. What you need to do is to select, okay, the layout to be tablet. Tablet layout means landscape. Okay, phone layout means portrait. It's just that. Okay, you can actually design it anyhow you want, right? So because when you start a new app, right, okay, they will ask you what is the layout. Is it phone view, phone layout, or tablet layout? Tablet means landscape, all right? Okay, so guys, I'm afraid that's quite late already. I'm supposed to end at 12, but it's 20 minutes late. So I thank you all for this. So I would appreciate it if you guys can help me complete this evaluation. You can use your phone and, oh, sorry. You can use a phone and also take the QR code, scan the QR code, and fill up the form, fill up the evaluation form, or you can have this forms.office.com. I think my producer will share the link. There you go. So I thank you. I seriously thank you very much. And I really hope that this next time I can actually have a longer webinar. But just stay tuned that I'm going to have a more detailed talk about, let's say, even the AI builder, probably, right, as well as maybe the power of virtual agents. And the rest of my AI-oriented webinars will be up and coming, I think, by next year. Now, I also want to disclose about our next webinar next month in November. We are going to have the webinar of blockchain. All right, so let me see whether I can share to you. Okay, this is my company web address. So I think it's up and running here. Let me just try to refresh. I remember that the banner is up. There you go. So it's from our trainer called Ali Reza. He's actually a blockchain certified trainer. Hang on, let me just click on here. So this is our next month's webinar, 17th of November, also same time, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. It's talking about blockchain digital transformation. All right, and the agenda will talk about blockchain, Bitcoin relationship with blockchain, the rise of also the finance without banks or borders, and also the blockchain adoption, all talking about even fintech and stuff like that. So he's the Microsoft certified trainer. He's my long-term friend. Okay, he's been my friend for 20 over years. But recently, nowadays, he's focusing on blockchain. He's a blockchain certified trainer. So stay tuned. For those of you who want, you can just sign up from here. All right. And also upcoming in December, we might have more and more. So every month we will have at least one webinar. So you guys just make sure that you stay tuned. All right. And also any inquiries, okay, you can please contact us by sending an email to enquiry@gemrain.net. Right. Those of you who intend to follow me on LinkedIn, you can do so. Right, because I think most of you guys know my LinkedIn. Possibly you connected to me on LinkedIn before. All right. So the eval form link has been posted to the chat, as well as our next blockchain webinar, the 17th November webinar link is also there. The sign up page is there. So by next year, I think January, I'm going to post a video about my product launching for new upcoming data science oriented, Microsoft data science, Microsoft AI, and machine learning oriented stuffs. Okay. So I do not want to, affect your lunchtime and all those things, So I, again, wholeheartedly, sincerely thank you very much for your time. It has been a great pleasure having you guys joining my webinar, and hope to see you guys soon in my next upcoming webinar. The next one is not me, it's Ali Reza, but I'll definitely be seeing you guys. Okay. So once again, enjoy your lunch, enjoy your weekend, stay safe, okay, take care, and I will see you guys soon. Okay, bye-bye.
Done with my cigarette.